Hello, Matthias.
Hi, Sarah.
I'm joined here by the man behind ChessBase software, and ChessBase 18 is releasing very soon, Matthias. And we have had this tradition of you telling us what's happening in this, what is new. And I thought it would be wonderful if we got an insight right from you, the man who has made it along with your team, as to what ChessBase 18 is all about.
Thank you, Sarah, for having me. I'm really looking forward to this, and I have to say I'm very pleased to be able to show ChessBase 18 because I'm quite excited about it. As a developer, you have a feeling about an upgrade, and I think this is a very cool upgrade. Of course, I have to say this, but let me prove to you why this is the case.
I'm also very excited about it. So I want to know all about, what is in there, because for the next 2 years, every day of my life, I'm going to use this software. So I want to know all about it.
Okay, then let's start. Yeah, you see, every ChessBase update has kind of one focus theme, one subject. And the subject for ChessBase 18 is player analysis. Player preparation, of course, but also analysis, trying to make statements about players. And the two central functions for this are the style report and the error report, which I'd like to show you both. One wonders why didn't we do this earlier? I mean, we are in the business for a long time, and now we are finally really trying to describe and analyze players as personalities, their strengths, their weaknesses, their styles, everything. And I think it has a lot to do with the power of hardware, because to do many calculations in a short time, to analyze games quickly, and so you need powerful hardware. And nowadays, computers are quick enough that we can do really nice things with it. Let's jump in right away. And I open my player index in the mega database. And let's start with the obvious choice. Let's start with Carlsen.
Although I like the name you had already at the top, Arjun Erigaisi was there.
Yeah, I looked at some players, and we can continue with that. Okay, so I selected Carlsen here in our mega database players index, and when I select him, I can either right-click, call the player report, or I can do the style report here.
This is a new button.
Yes. And the other important button we will talk about later, the error report, we start with the style report. And then I can do some selections which are useful. Normally, I would exclude blitz in rapid games because people just play differently in blitz games. And of course, I also exclude simuls. And I could set a year range, and let's have this range maybe to 2024. You don't have to look at his whole life, but you will see that the function is pretty fast. It looks at about 880 tournament games, long games, during these 14 years, and comes up with the following results. The first thing which is visible here are the evaluations. 8 categories trying to make statistical statements about the player. And one thing immediately springs into the eye. This is the high endgame affinity, very high. You barely find this in players. And
it says 120%. It's like beyond normal.
Yeah. It's normed by average grandmasters, but he's just exceeding this so much. And this endgame affinity, which is a very strong characteristic of Magnus Carlsen, is calculated, first of all, by, of course, how many endgames does he get in his games. Many players are playing sharply, they don't get to the endgame, or they make a draw before. And then how he scores in different types of endgames. How does he defend bad endgames, and so on and so on. And all this is being bundled up in one number and expressing the endgame affinity of this player. And this is a striking feature of Magnus Carlsen, his endgame affinity. There's another interesting thing we can say about this. If you look at tenacity, fighting spirit, it's also very high. Carlsen doesn't make quick draws. He plays on and on and on. He plays long games. If he draws, the draw is a long game. So he's really a fighter. You can see this here.
Also, I like the aggressiveness
Yeah.
is only 7%, which is that he's not very aggressive.
This is interesting. Yeah, he's keeping things under control. And if you look at the observations, the program tries to make certain statements about the players. The program tries to deduce statements from the data. And if we just go through this, and we see Carlsen is strong as white. So he's converting his white advantage better than average grandmasters. Very few short drafts. That's the trivial statistics. He plays many modern main lines, which is expected from a contemporary player. And sometimes he sacrifices pawns as black. One thing is in bold typeface here. You see, keeps things under control. And when ChessBase 18 writes an observation in bold typeface, it's something statistically very significant seen in the games. So he's not risking many things. He tries to keep everything under control and then to convert advantages. Then, of course, the final statement, good in endgames, and defense worse endgames well.
Nice.
Which is also interesting for the endgame score, that some people falter in bad endgames. He never falters. He defends with an iron fist.
Amazing.
Let's scroll a bit down, and then we have some more information. This
is about the openings.
Yes. A quick overview. If you prepare against a player, then it's pretty useful to have a quick overview about the opening, and you see the performance in each line, and when this line was played last, and then you have these little trend symbols here. For example, expressing here that Carlsen playing d4 against d45, Queen's Gambit, he scores extremely well. 83%, and this yields 3 plus.
What is this plus 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 sign?
It's a very, very strong positive deviation from his expected overall score, which is also pretty high, but with 83% as white, incredible score from 21 games, scoring 3,028. So he was a very good d4 player at this time.
Right. So if it shows equal below it, is it equal, right? That sign, which means it's playing as per his strength.
Then the line, the score in the line is within the expectation for him. It's normal. He scores 70%. That's his normal white score. So he's expected to make 70%. So that's not a deviation here.
Okay.
So how does this work? How do we make those statements that we can say, okay, he's a positional player, but he's not very aggressive. And the technology behind it's really interesting, and we have some use for it in ChessBase. The first thing is that we list a lot of theme games for certain strategic elements. You see all these themes we have here: King's Attack with white, King's Attack with black, counterplay with white, counter black with black, defense, sacrifice, gambits, sharp play, sharp openings, and so on, space advantage, active play, pawn majority on the queen side. You see sometimes there are simple static things, sometimes there are interesting dynamic things. All these terms contribute to the style evaluation of the player. By looking at the statistics for those strategic themes to happen in the game, we can make a style profile and make these statements that we can say, okay, we have a positional player or we have an aggressive player. And you see how many there are. Later, I will show you how to search arbitrary games for such strategical motives. And if we, for example, look at something funny here, but that's a bit crazy. It's a Reckless King, just to make something funny. I load this game, and Okay, you see the king is on f6.
Wow.
We call this practice king. It's a trivial thing. It's not a big dynamic thing. Space advantage also is obviously more interesting. We'll get to this later.
I actually like this because in this it's also doubled pawns, backward pawns, all of it, and you
Yeah,
can get some thematic games of a player through it.
of course. Yeah, yeah. And the interesting thing is there are many more games, of course, than those where Carlsen has queenside play for white. But those games are sorted by the strengths of the teams. So the first game would exhibit this motive pretty strongly. I will show this in more detail when we get to the strategic search, which is also a very important, interesting new feature of chess.
Can we do one more player and see if
Suggest somebody.
I want to look at Dubov because he's very aggressive.
Sorry, I didn't. Dubov. Yeah.
Daniel Dubov. Yeah.
Okay, here we get him. Okay, style report, and yeah, let's just take the default parameters. Okay, here we have a much higher, big red bar, 70% of aggressiveness. So
nice.
I think,
and in the bold below it's written attacks the king. So yes,
yes, in bold typeface. Yeah, and also many winning sacrifices, also an interesting thing. And frankly, I'm proud that this took 1 second or 2 seconds on my machine. And he was able to deduce this information from 700 games in 1 second. That many winning sacrifices, and also he keeps the queens on the board. So if the opponent tries to exchange queens, Dubov doesn't accept this.
Nice. This is very, very nice. If tomorrow, let's say, I mean, I've used ChessBase all the time to prepare against an opponent, but it was always like looking through many games that you understand the style. But now you first can understand the style and go through you can do the preparation in another way through this.
That's actually the point of the feature. It's not I'm playing around with it and I like the statements about the players, but what you say is the point of the feature. That quick preparation gives you an immediately an insight. What kind of personality are you facing in your next games?
Right.
Let me pick one final player and then we are done. Let's pick a player from the 19th century. For example, Piasecki.
Oh, he was very aggressive, I believe.
Yeah, that's the point, yeah. We only have 90 games, but let's check aggressiveness here. And here we have risk 500% in comparison to contemporary players, and 200% aggressiveness, and positional play 0, endgame 0. So that's a very extreme player. You find this from most of those 19th centuries King's Gambit players.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay. So much for the style report. I mentioned that in the style report, we use all these strategical themes to make statements about the players. And there's another application of this technology, which is also pretty useful. If I call up this search mask to filter games here in the database, then in the advanced search mask, I have a strategy tab now.
Oh, that's a new one, yes?
That's new, yeah. We were able to search for tactics. You see all these tactics.
Yes.
But we never had anything about strategy. And it's the first time. It's a bit awkward that we only now get around to do this, but now we have the technology to describe those things. And you see we have 30 check boxes here to search for different strategical themes.
Wow, this is so amazing because people, earlier used to ask me, like, how can we figure out pawn majorities or something? And I would say, oh, you should set up a position and then do similar structure or something like that. You have to do it in a roundabout way.
Yeah. Let's look for something interesting, King's Attack. And I could combine it with the strong pair of bishops, but let's just for the moment just look for this simple plan, King's Attack. And I can do some additional choices here. I can say I want only king's attack for white. And it should be, the result of the king's attack should be advantages. It should not lose.
Okay.
It should be better of winning. So, and I start this now. It is, you can see it goes at about 100 games, 120 games per second, because every game has to be replayed and analyzed. And we already found 2,000 games, but of course, to scan the whole mega database, it will take a long time. We have enough games.
We can actually also limit it by rating, and that might be a good filter.
Oh,
later.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting suggestion, of course. Yeah. I stop here.
Okay.
And okay, now I have a list of results here. And there is one interesting thing about this. There is an additional column in the games list, and this column is called theme strengths. And let me open this up to show you. And with theme strengths, you see that the list is now sorted by those values. And theme strengths means the relative strengths of the strategical motive, in our case, king's attack, in the game. Mm-hmm. So the top games will have a strong king's attack, that's my thesis, and the bottom games will have king's attack, but less prominent. Let me load the top game and to see whether this is correct, whether this is a king's. Can we agree that this is king's attack for white in this position?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we can ask the program about it also. And also we might load the next game, and we also have games with king's attack. But let's go back to this game, and here's this special little quick annotation button.
This red button, right?
Yes. Yeah. Red square.
It was there in ChessBase 17 as well.
Yeah, in ChessBase 17, it had the functionality to detect sacrifices in the game quickly, and we enhanced this a bit. It's more now a quick annotation. If we click on it, then it will not only detect the sacrifices which we had before, but it will add all the strategical themes which we know from the strategy search and annotate them into the annotation. For example, it says this is a sharp opening. We can agree on that. Move 24, it says white has weak pawns, which is not quite correct in this situation. It sees this backward pawns as weak, but obviously the strong passed pawns are not weak. That's a bit of a miss here. But of course, passed pawn white is correct, or opposite costing is correct, because the black king goes to the queen side. Reckless king is clear. We have an open position here, very open. And so any game you load, any arbitrary game, whenever you click the red square, you will find all strategic motives annotated, which ChessBase detect in those games. So if you wonder why does it see this game as being for passed pawn white, you click on the red square and then you get this annotation here, and then you see a strong passed pawn of white here.
Nice. Yeah, this is amazing, because from this you can actually look at many different positional themes in like if you want to study something, or even in a player if you want to find something.
Yes, yeah. I think for trainers it's pretty useful. And you see, we have this huge database now. We have more than 10 million games in the mega database. And how do we make those games the wonderful treasure of chess information accessible to ChessBase users? And this is why we are fighting for such functions, that we get new and more advanced search criteria, annotation criteria, analysis criteria, style analysis, to make this huge treasure of games somehow more visible, rather than having endless lists where you see nothing.
Wow. Can we try something, if you don't mind? Like, for example,
please.
If we go into players, and if we type, let's say, my name, because I haven't played for a long time, but I wanted to see if actually it will come by Sagar, I think, Sagar.
And here we see 400 of your games. And I take the whole set of them and I put them for further processing on the clipboard of ChessBase. Here we find this. Here we have 400 games of Saga now.
To add all the games in clipboard, you press F5, right?
Indeed, I did that. Yeah. Very important shortcut. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and now I will search on your games.
I wanted to see if I can find some attacking games of mine.
Okay, so if I now open the strategy tab again, and we have still from the last sample, we have still King's Attack selected, and that was our search idea.
Yeah.
And we select only the games where you succeed with your King's Attack. And after hitting OK, takes a few seconds, you can see again that these games are sorted by the strengths of the King's Attack motive. And if I click on the top game, you can see in the right-hand side here in the quick board, this really.
Yeah, I remember this game where I hunted the king. Yes, and also this one is quite nice. Second game with Schweitzer.
Click on the second game.
Because it was a huge attack.
Oh yeah, that's.
It ended in a nice mate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's nice. Yeah. So that from your games, those two we looked at were the strongest exhibition of King's Attack. We maybe for the sake of demonstration, we can just go into the medium range here and look maybe at this game and see whether we still identify some kind of King's Attack here. Maybe later in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's this is something which the program sees as a medium, medium King's Attack. Obviously, you are getting through with your attack here.
Got it. Yeah, very interesting because it's like I want to look at certain themes of a certain player. I can do it very quickly, including my own. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, the one interesting application of all these things is, of course, look at your own games and find something about yourself. And you see, when we looked at this style report, we only looked at the style and strategy. But of course, there's another aspect of chess personality and playing strengths. This is the calculation abilities, tactical strengths.
Okay.
And this is something which I cannot really show live because I can show you how it would work with your games here. For example, I can always call style report and error report on an arbitrary game selection. It doesn't have to be games of a player. It can be games of a tournament, games of an opening.
Games of an opening.
Yes, you can see what is the style report on King's Indian games. And it will tell you what's a sharp opening, you have King's Attack. And it will try to it will also create all these theme games and everything, but it will not focus on a player, but only on the general games. Now, on your games, I will start something which we will not be able to finish, but just for the sake of demonstration, I call up the error report.
Okay.
You can also find a nice big button in the player index where we start the style report, but I do it on this selection. And here I have a choice of speed. I will do it quickly, but still, the error report, which looks at the error a player makes, the tactical things, takes a long time. Why? Why is it so much slower than the style report? Because obviously, you have to look at every game with an engine, at every move, every game with an engine. And you have to do many, many searches. And though I'm still at 1 game per second, it will take a long time. And I will stop it here. And I will show you something which I prepared before and finalized full error reports, which demonstrate the power of this function. Let me find my
Is
browser.
this a little bit similar to the tactical analysis that is done on the games?
Yeah, tactical analysis is a precise analysis which tries to say something correct about the games. The error report does a quick and dirty analysis of the games because it tries to be fast. People don't have the patience to analyze a whole database, let's say of 400 games, and wait for an hour for this. They want to have a result within minutes. So the error report analyzes quick and dirty, and for precise analysis, you would do the tactical analysis.
Got it.
Let me show you the following graph, which is a result of the error report for a selection of arbitrary average Grandmaster games. I have a test database, players between 2,500 and 2,600. And interestingly enough, the ELO deducted, the average ELO deducted from those games is also 2,500. So this is the first thing you can see. For every player or every selection of games, you can calculate an ELO rating. It's pretty interesting because the statistics behind this is rather sound. I think from my analysis, I can say we can about 70 to 75% of all players, we can predict the ELO rating quite correctly by doing this error report blunder ELO calculation.
I didn't get it. So do you say that if, let's say, a player has a specific rating, but the blunder rating could be something different?
Yes, and that's why we do this. If you, for example, if you look at your own games, you're an amateur like me. I look my games and I'm an experienced player. I play solidly, but my blunder rating is lower than my normal rating. And the conclusion I draw from this is I should train calculation better.
Okay.
I should concentrate better in my games. And so this is an interesting statement of a player. Some players have higher blunder ratings. For example, Carlsen is a bit higher. We can look at him later. And all the top players are slightly higher. And many other players also have lower ratings, especially older players who get tired quicker or so. They make more tactical errors and their blunder rating is lower. But in general, the precision of this is between 100 and 200 ELO points. And for some players, the results are very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain what you see here, because I think this is something really, really interesting. I think it's what we did show here is a fundamental law of chess. It's very obvious. The statement of this graph we see here is very simple. It says, the more complicated the position, the higher your average blunder in this position.
Okay.
It's a trivial statement, but it's nice to prove it mathematically. And this is what this graph does for an arbitrary selection of games, which I started before our video half an hour ago. You see, on the x-axis of this graph, you have the complexity of the position. On the right-hand side, the more complex positions. On the left-hand side, the more calm positions. And the y-axis here shows the blunder size. And you see, this is the green line is a approximation of this data, trend line, so to speak, a fitting line statistically. And you see that this is quite well linearly fit. So you can make this. This is a very, very fundamental statement about chess. It's obvious, but still, I'm not sure whether this has ever been proven in this way. In complex positions, people make bigger errors. So we have this line now for those average grandmasters. And the interesting thing is that the shape of this line, its slope, how steep it is characteristic for a player. We can deduce things like an ELO rating or other things about the player. For example, we can say how precise does the player calculate in complicated positions? Does he or she have problems in complicated positions or not? So let's look at our test case, normal test case, Carlsen again here. I did this just before our session, so not to waste time by waiting for these long calculations. And for Carlsen, for the year 2023, so to 2024, last 2 years, 80 games, 80 tournament games, we have a very interesting graph because Carlsen's blunder versus complexity line decreases. So he has no problem at all to calculate complex positions.
Oh.
Does even make less blunders in statistically in these 18 games. Of course, there's a big uncertainty in it. That's it's better to have a few hundred games, but still here you can see Carlsen's immense strengths. This is my thesis, comes from super precise calculation, which is also expressed in his blunder ELO, which is 100 points above his average ELO in those 2 years. Average ELO was 2840, and he scores 2960. And so this is an interesting statement about Carlsen here.
So essentially, the error report is all about your calculation skills. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, you can also use it in player preparation. You can see is your player good in complex positions or not.
So actually, if we look at Ding Liren, for example, who is going through a rough phase, his blunder ELO you made something. I saw his name. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. Here we have Ding. For Ding, you see the line is increasing. You have this very, very little dot here for highly complex positions. There are not many games, and this is so there's the error in the statistics is quite high. You can see that those dots fluctuate a bit around the green line, but still you see for the last 2 years, Ding Liren has had calculation issues, I would say.
And actually, if we did for his previous period, then it might be a different graph because he was playing much better at that point.
Of course. Yeah. He lost some. We all know this. He lost some games, and this is also expressed in this graph that he had some.
Very interesting. Actually, I like the blunder ELO function because it in one sort of number it tells how good you are at calculation as compared to your actual rating.
Indeed, yeah. But there's more to this. Let me scroll down a bit.
Okay.
You can see the blunder report creates a lot of graphics. Let me quickly go through this. And this, for example, this graph tells you how many blunders of a certain size did the player make. And here you see something unusual. There are some blunders in the range 300 to 350 centipoints. So this is a full piece. So there are games of Ding Liren where he dropped a full piece, which the green reference bars do not show. Green reference is average GMs, and they don't drop pieces so many times. But Ding Liren sometimes dropped stuff. And then you can see how does the player play in certain types of position, in winning positions, in losing positions, or in equal position. And you see that in general, Ding Liren is better than the average grandmasters. His average blunder, he's a strong grandmaster. So red is lower than green. He's stronger than the green averages. But here's something significant that in winning positions, he does not blunder. He plays very precise in winning positions. In losing positions, he could maybe defend a bit tougher or in worse positions. But he's very precise when he's
So having
better.
this bar lower means the blunders are lesser, right?
Indeed.
Got it.
Okay, then we can have several categories. How do the different blunders impact on the result? For example, somebody rarely makes a blunder which converts a winning to a lost position. We don't find this in his games, but we find, of course, that he makes blunders which stay winning, which maybe just to play more efficiently. And finally, we have some statistics about blunders in end games, middle games, if he is under attack or attacking by himself against stronger and weaker opponents or so. That's interesting also for amateurs, pretty interesting. But because for amateurs, you see strong difference. Some people play well against stronger opponents. Myself, I'm good at killing weaker opponents, but I'm not so good against stronger opponents. And so it's something about the player you can find here.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And let me just, it's not a nice subject, I don't want to get into it, but just let me mention that this is, of course, the perfect tool to find suspicious games. Because you can imagine that for correspondence players, their blunder elo is quite high. I don't want to talk more about this, but you know what I mean.
Right. So if someone is like someone's online games can be checked and their blunder elo would be very high. Got it.
Of course.
If they are using unfair means. Got it.
Yeah. Also, the program detects blitz games. If you give it blitz games, for example, Carlsen plays a blunder elo of about 2350 in blitz, which is quite nice. But of course, then you see why is his blunder elo so low, and the program finds by looking at certain statistics that those are blitz games. For example, we have more hanging pieces and stuff like that, and then you can detect blitz games, distinguish them from normal games.
Got it.
I'm proud of this function. I hope it has some use. Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually curious to see like how people will use it in practical play. Maybe it will be like for their next round opponent, they would do the error thing, and then they'll be like, oh, his blunder elo is much lower than his actual elo, and that means I can take it into complex positions and so on.
Yeah, I had an interesting case during the Olympiad. I'm a big fan, of course, of Vincent Keimer, Germany's top board, and they played, I think it was Montenegro, and Keimer got in a very bad king's attack and just got, well, overrun. And then I looked at the opponent, and the opponent is a crazy attacker. And I wonder if the trainer or Keimer himself would have had the style report before the game, and they would have looked at this play and say, oh, he's a very dangerous attacker. Maybe I play a different system against him.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. Okay,
so those were the shiny new things, but there are some down-to-earth, very practical improvements in ChessBase, which I think are important for everyday work. In the reference search, you see the reference search is basically the heart of opening work with ChessBase. And let's get into any normal opening position here by coincidence from one of your games. And if I open the reference search, then first of all, you see some slight changes. You have a new column which tells you the drawing probability of each move, of every move. And more interesting, you can see the time range in which this move has been played. So the move 7a6 was introduced in the year 1935, and is a very recent move. It has been played in the last year, obviously.
Right.
And but I think the most striking improvement in the reference search with immense practical use is this. I hope one can see this. I'm moving my mouse arrow in the bottom right corner of the screen, and I'm clicking on this little.
Let me move myself so that people can.
Yeah.
Where exactly did you click? Oh, this.
In the top right.
Oh, the settings. Corner. Settings.
Yeah, there was a checkbox in the checkbox top games was there in ChessBase 17.
Yeah. And
we extended this by a filtering dialog, where you can say, okay, either I can filter by rating. I can look at strong games. This is the old top games, which includes past and present strong players. You can use this, but the rating is also a good criterion. But the interesting thing is you can also limit the reference search by games, let's say, only from the last 10 years or so, even less. And if I click this and I search, then you see played is limited to 2018 to 2024, and you only have recent theory there. And this is sometimes pretty interesting because you see that theory changes. We all know that, and so you immediately see, is there a move very popular in the last 3 or 4 years, which was not unpopular earlier, or what were the big historic moves? You could do things like, okay, I look at the World Championship from 1960 or so, and I can see what was the theory in the year 1960 in this position. And of course, there are much less games, but Bishop g4 was the top move, and nowadays top move of a6 was practically not played at all. And so this is the theory in this Grunfeld line of 1960. And
so it's like
things,
this button is more like this filter which we have, but it's like a very quick filter that we can use.
Indeed. Yeah. We should have done this before, because it makes the reference search so much more flexible.
Right.
And there's some final thing about the reference search, which is I have to go a couple move backs into very frequent open positions and rearrange my windows here a bit. And you see this, I haven't looked at this position. We have to wait a bit, and because now it starts scanning the games, and this takes time a bit. It's not indexed for annotations. And
earlier I used to click on this VCS function and have those at the top.
Yeah. And maybe I should to find some annotations. I should go. Here it starts finding annotation. You see, it is a bit slow. We could speed this up, but you can see that there all annotations, text annotations in the database in this position by any annotator are listed here. Let's for example, click on this game here. And then you can see, it's of course a silly annotation, but just for the sake of demonstration, because it's a bit slow, I wanted to show you how this works.
Right.
So for any opening position, you can check, are there annotated games in the database, and what are the annotations here.
Nice.
It's a small thing, but it's nice. Yeah.
It's the new tab that has been added.
Indeed, yeah. In the reference search here in this additional window, which some players make it small. I like it pretty much because I like the variations display a lot, which clusters this.
I actually like this played button because imagine like if we look at the some main line, let's say G6, for example, here knight C3, bishop G7, E4, D6, knight F3, castles, bishop E2. And now I think from here, by looking at played games, we can actually try and see what are the modern trends, right? Of this, what are the recently played moves?
Yes, you can. Of course, and now you have the King's Indian theory of the year 1960. Before I was born, we have to reset our search. If you want to see modern theory, then you have, of course, you have to switch off so that you get the games to 2024 again.
Yeah.
And now you see who plays this, how recently it has been played, and in all this
this is a very famous position, but if we look at something more, we could, with that played button, look at some line and find new ideas quite easily.
Indeed. That's the point. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so that was what's new about the reference search in ChessBase 18. And I have some two final things I would like to show you. One thing is the remote engine, a new type of cloud engine included in ChessBase 18. And the other function is to download games from Lichess and chess.com players.
Yes, this is interesting because nowadays people are playing a lot of online chess. So
Indeed. And it was motivated, you see, the Lichess function was motivated by the idea, okay, ChessBase 18 has the subject player analysis and player the preparation. And of course, people want to look at themselves, and they play online, and then they want to immediately check their own games, their online games. What is my style? Where are my strengths and my weaknesses? But before we come to this final chapter, I'd like to show you, after opening a board window, just next from use, and let me add a keyboarder here. Now I have two local engines on my computer, and I have this remote UCI engine. And the remote engine is basically a cloud engine, but slightly different than our normal cloud engines. I can load this. And then this program will start. And now it has 17 remote engine running. Let's have a look what this extra window here means. So this remote engine connects to servers in data centers where you could rent engines, but you also have a free engine if you are a premium user.
What?
And every buyer of ChessBase 18 has 1 year premium account. So every ChessBase 18 user gets a free remote engine in a data center. What's the point of this? Why do we do this? You see, of course, I'm working on a powerful desktop engine. I'm not interested in this so much. But if you are on the road, in the train, on an airport or so, and you're running on a battery on your notebook, or in a hotel room or so, and you analyze with an engine takes your full CPU power, it drains on the battery, the cooling fan will get on your nerves because the processor heats. And so if you run your engine, your free premium remote engine on one of our servers, then all the electricity, the heat also will be in a data center, not on your machine. And you can rent, if you like, bigger engines with ducats, but you get this one engine as flat rate, so to speak, for free. And you could even define this to be your default engine. I click it here. I set it as default engine. Okay, and then you can easily toggle it with the default engine key Alt F2. And after a short window pop-up, you see the engine runs, and I can stop it again. So this is the remote engine in ChessBase 7.
I'm actually very surprised with this feature because I know that strong players are all the time using cloud engine feature of ChessBase. They want to rent cloud engines. So now, and it's actually many times people say there are not enough engines available during some very big event, let's say if the Olympiad is coming up or something like this. So for every ChessBase 18 user to have their own cloud remote engine, this is insane. Like I don't know how you made it happen. Like, is it?
Yeah, it's a modern data center where you can you see, if I start a bigger machine where I pay for example, let's add the remote engine. I'd say, okay, I load this thing, and now I change my configuration. I change the default engine to load, and I say, okay, I use a machine, a large machine, which takes 2 ducats per hour. 2 ducats per hour is not much. It's 20 euro cent or so. But it takes some money. So if I set this up now and I say I save it as default, I will not do it. It will take 1 or 2 minutes to initialize, because then a machine is being initialized, especially for this engine. And once it's available, it's very fast for you. But you might have, for bigger machines, you might have to wait for a short time, 30, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, maybe a minute. And the point is that you always get a machine of this size. You don't. It's not a random market like the traditional engine cloud. There's a guaranteed availability of the hardware, and the advantage of the traditional engine cloud, and why the top players like it, is that they can provide powerful machines for themselves, or a federation can have a powerful machine which the top players use during the Olympiad. Quite normal thing which happens in the. But the market, the normal market, is a bit random, because there are some providers who offer machines, and maybe you get a machine or you don't, and you have to trust the provider, because the provider can always check your analysis, what's happening on the screen. And this is a bit different. It's private, guaranteed. So 2 different systems, both have their use.
This is actually provided by ChessBase itself, right? This feature.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, of course. Yeah. This is just an interface into Linux servers running and data servers running those engines here.
Okay. Very interesting.
Okay, and now for the final feature for today. It's I hope the server's running. My colleagues are frantically working still on the servers, and I have this new functionality here, load online player. And if I open this up, maybe I look for the games of one of our developers, and I could select download from chess.com or Lichess. Of course, you can download those games on the sites of Lichess or chess.com. But for ChessBase users, sometimes it's more convenient if you do it directly and just download those games immediately and have them in ChessBase. It takes a bit of time. Let me talk about what's happening here. You see, Lichess is a system where you don't pay. You just it depends on people contributing, but they have no premium memberships also to pay for their servers. So we thought we cannot put our load. People start downloading games and games and games on those servers directly. We would like to introduce a cache, which is filled with the Lichess games, the monthly databases, but caches away the load from those Lichess servers. And what's happening now is that we download those games, 5,000 games, and we have a database of 6 billion Lichess games on this server. And this was pretty interesting because we do this database in the 2 CBH format, in the format of ChessBase 17 and 18. And we had to really fight with this format to make it capable of handling databases of 6 billion, millions of millions games. You see, this is the power of Lichess. They have billions of games. I'm really envious of this.
And it's actually updating every single day, right? Like with millions of games.
Indeed. And we introduced this huge cache where people can really put a huge load on it and download games directly. And so this is games of my colleague who plays a lot of bullet. And I would like just show you, if I select all those games and I do right-click style report, and we can look at Brinkfish style here. Okay, 5,000 games takes a bit, but should be finished by now. And we see, well, those are obviously online blitz games. And again, in bullet games, you always have risk and uncertainty. So this is not really representative possibly of his style. You have a huge quote of decided games. You don't make big draws in bullet. But still, you can see that all those tools work. And this was the idea, that people look at their own games, maybe not their bullet games, maybe their slower blitz games, and learn something about their style, their openings, and so on.
Wow. Can I search my games from Lichess? Or is it too difficult right now?
No, it's not. The server is a bit slow, but let's do it. You tell me your handle.
SAGAR CHE SS numeric 1.
That's correct? Or
One.
Get the last
Numeric 1.
1. Okay.
Yeah.
All the games probably. Do you play Blitz?
Yeah, only Blitz, I think.
That was fast. Maybe, I don't know. The server has some fluctuations today. Okay,
no, I don't play so much, so maybe.
Yeah. 1,000 games of yours downloaded from Lichess.
And which one is the latest one? Like, is it?
Yeah, it is not. I think it's from July, because we have this database. We are updating it now.
Okay.
The databases are outdated, of course, in comparison to Lichess. So if you play a game on Lichess, it will not be right away in the cache. But we update it from time to time. But the point is that you can download as much as you like, and we will not create any load on on the chess servers and not create any costs for them.
Wow.
That would be fair.
So essentially, let's imagine that I'm preparing against an opponent. I find their games in mega database. I do the style report and everything. I can then try to find their online username and then use this, download these games here, and again try to do the style report and get some more insights into them.
That's the full point. That's the idea behind this. Huh?
This is fantastic. I think I never could imagine that a feature which connected Lichess, chess.com, like playing online these games, could be done inside ChessBase. So this is very interesting.
Yeah, as I said, the style report and error report, they led to this because we think, we need the games. So people want to look at their own games. Of course, they can download it, but it's work. You have to download those PGNs, convert it. And also with the idea, of course, of preparation. Normal people find out about handles of opponents, and then they can just prepare also within ChessBase against those players.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, that was the little journey through the major feature. There are many, many more things. Like you probably have noticed that we have a new layout. All the icons are fresh.
Yeah, it's like this blue color, something different.
Indeed. Just had a little crash here. Sorry, the program just crashed here. This is the test version. Something went wrong still. What I'm doing, I'm compiling it and I'm starting ChessBase, freshly compiled.
Okay.
Here we are again. So we have new icons in every window, and you can also change the style of those icons. You can change the colors if you like, and well, this is a bit of a gimmick, but maybe people like different colors than us, and so they now have a ChessBase with green icons.
Nice.
It's a gimmick, but I like it very much.
It's nice. And this year, it's like ChessBase comes with 1 year of premium membership. Is it like something that you have on your mind that the premium membership is going to be very valuable, more than what already exists? Is there something more that can be done?
Yes, yeah. The main point of the, I think that's a subject for a whole other video session. The main point of the premium membership is that we now have a mobile version of ChessBase.
Wow.
For the moment, it runs in the browser, and it's called app.chessbase.com, and every user of every ChessBase account holder can already use. And for example, I'm logged in now with a test account of mine, and I have my repertoire here, and I can use this on a mobile phone, and I can search the global online database for games of the position. But not only that, I can also access all my cloud databases. Those are my cloud databases, which I have with my account MW Testing. And for example, if I look at this game and then I go into ChessBase and I log off and I log in with the same account I just use in this mobile ChessBase, and I call up the cloud databases, then you can see this best games for replay training database. Is here, as well as is on the application here, the mobile application. And you see here I have a desktop browser, but you can try app.chessbase.com on your own phone, and you have a mobile version of ChessBase, which has your cloud databases, your opening preparation, and access to the online database.
And to access app.chessbase.com, you need premium membership.
Indeed, there's some free functionality, but you have less games in searches. You have less space on the disk, and so the premium account is really useful for that, and that comes 1 year premium with ChessBase 18.
That's amazing. Actually, will there also be an app like on the Google Play Store and on the Apple Play Store?
Yeah. We are working on that. At the moment, it runs on your phone, but you have to open the browser on your phone and to enter app.chessbase.com. And but the app is in progress, and I think it will take maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks until we have a full ChessBase mobile app.
So essentially, someone can have this app, which right now is app.chessbase.com. They can open it, they can play through it, they can save a game through their cloud, and then later on open the cloud database on their laptop or on their desktop, and they can work on their phone as well now.
Indeed, yeah. Cloud databases, and also if you have your board window, you have this My Moves tab here in the board window. And if you go to My Moves, and let me just maximize the windows, and you load, for example, your My Moves with white, which is your repertoire here. If you change this in ChessBase, all the changes will be immediately visible under My Moves in the app. So this is a way to have your whole preparation online on the road, and also to train it, to repeat moves, to drill variations.
Yeah, which is useful for even top players, because they keep on revising their openings all the time.
Yeah. So what I see here in the app is the same I see in ChessBase. So it's coupled.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is on the app also, can you access engines? I saw that there is also an engine which you can access and so on.
Yeah, there are 3 tabs here: notation, which we have here. Then we have training, where you can repeat games, where you can drill variation, and you have analysis, where the engine is running.
And is this a strong engine, or you would say it's similar to?
So that's at the moment that's the browser engine, but you have access to the let's check information and to the live book, and we are working on and having remote engines here also.
Wow.
Powerful.
Okay. Then people can work really seriously on their phone.
Indeed, that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay. This is fantastic, Matthias. Thank you for sharing. So in a nutshell, one can say that the main upgrade in ChessBase 18 is that you can prepare against opponents much more deeply.
Indeed. Or you can check yourself, and you can detect the certain weaknesses and strengths in your play, which you probably didn't know about, very easily with style report and error report. And you can see which opening variations should maybe looked at to improve.
Amazing. And personally for you, this has been a journey of 2 years of working, yes, on building this.
Yeah, in reality, it's less, because we have many jobs at ChessBase. All developers have many projects, and of course, last year we did a lot with the Fritz personalities until winter, and then I had a lot of different jobs. We started, I think, on ChessBase. We started in April, so this is beginning of April. We worked continuously on ChessBase 18, and I have to say it was really, for me, it was very fulfilling, big fun, and the moment for the first time, I saw this fundamental relationship between blunder size and position complexity, and I saw that this is linear. I expect there's some relationship, but that this is the linear relationship I felt like a researcher detecting a law of nature. Which was very interesting for me.
Yeah, I'm going to use these features more deeply and perhaps come up with my own conclusions. I think this has always been the thing with ChessBase, that you provide the tools to the people, and then different people can come up with their own conclusions which help them.
Indeed, yeah. Which we have at the moment have no idea about what will happen. That's cool.
Thank you, Matthias, for your time, and thank you for sharing this. This is a great starting point, and I hope that people enjoy ChessBase 18.
Thank you for having the patience for such a long time to listening to me, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you.